Disney is an entertainment and communications juggernaut. It's no secret that the corporate entity pays little to nothing in taxes. In their defense, bringing you their magical Disney parks, Mickey Mouse and Goofy has had its challenges over the years. However, what you are about to learn in this video will shed Disney in a completely different light, that is tax-wise. Let's get started. Disney is an entertainment and communications juggernaut. It's no secret that the corporate entity pays little to nothing in taxes. In their defense, bringing you their magical Disney parks, Mickey Mouse and Goofy has had its challenges over the years. However, what you are about to learn in this video will shed Disney in a completely different light, that is tax-wise. Let's get started. Our story starts in the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg. Yes, you heard that right. Luxembourg, not Delaware. Why even bother with Nevada? Luxembourg is located in Europe. It's so small you wouldn't even think it was a country. But why go all the way to Europe? Well, Luxembourg offers corporations negotiable tax rates. You can even have talks with local tax officials as to how much you want to pay. Disney, advised by Ernst & Young, engineered complex restructurings that reorder the ownership of many subsidiaries and centralize them under Luxembourg companies that are all served by internal corporate finance companies akin to a company's own bank. These internal lenders received interest from affiliated companies channeling hundreds of millions of dollars in profits through Luxembourg between 2009 and 2013 and paid little tax. In some years, the two parent companies' Luxembourg subsidiaries enjoyed tax rates of less than 1%. When the money arrives in Luxembourg, taking advantage of an agreement between countries that assumes it will be taxed in Luxembourg, it goes in one of these unusual structures, and it's not taxed very much at all. Richard Brooks, a former tax inspector in the UK and author of The Great Tax Robbery, said about these types of arrangements. Luxembourg's tax deals are legal within its borders, but may be subject to challenges if tax authorities in other countries view them as allowing companies to avoid paying their fair share of taxes to them. Under the U.S. tax code, a transaction that cuts a company's tax bill must have a true business purpose or the IRS can disallow the tax benefit. In the past 15 years, Luxembourg has become a hub for some of the world's largest brands, big companies attracted by rulings that allow them to reduce the Central European Duchy's corporate income tax rate of 29% to little more than zero through financial maneuvers blessed in advance by Luxembourg tax officials. Internal company banks are one way corporations shift profits to Luxembourg in the form of interest payments on intercompany loans. Another way is through royalty payments on intellectual property, which enjoy an 80% tax exemption in Luxembourg. The Disney tax scheme is laid out in a 34-step advance tax agreement proposed in October 2009 by Ernst & Young. The document shows the corporate parent of Mickey Mouse moving money in circles across the globe while transforming it from cash to debt to equity and back. The copy of the ruling obtained by ICIJ does not bear the stamp of approval of the Luxembourg Tax Authority. Disney's Luxembourg is set up in a way that could allow it to move profit away from countries with high corporate taxes like France and Germany. Disney's series of equity transfers gathered ownership of at least 24 of its subsidiaries in France, Italy, Germany, the UK, Australia, the Cayman Islands, and the Netherlands under the umbrellas of two newly created companies in Luxembourg. At the center is a finance arm called Wedco Participations SCA. The internal bank made loans to subsidiaries at high interest rates, draining profits in high-tax countries back to Luxembourg as interest payments. A Cayman Islands subsidiary owns 16 Disney companies in Europe and Australia, sent profits to Luxembourg in the form of annual dividends. The Luxembourg internal lender, whose name was later changed to Wedco 1, Luxembourg, S.R.L. Participations SCA, reported profits for the 4 years ending September 2013 of more than €1 billion and paid €2.8 million in income tax in Luxembourg, according to the company's public accounts reviewed by ICIJ. That works out to a tax rate of just over 0.25%. The documents show Disney used this internal bank as an intermediary for two loans totaling €75 million to its French subsidiary, Walt Disney International, France, SAS. Disney charged Wedco Participations just 0.42% interest. Wedco went on to charge Disney's French subsidiary 5.7%. The transaction may have allowed Disney to reduce its French taxes because the French company paid more than €16 million in interest to the Luxembourg company from 2009 through 2013. Further, Disney received so little in interest payments from Wedco that it would have incurred little tax on its U.S. interest income from the transaction. Loans worth €717 million to two of Disney's UK subsidiaries generated €181 million in interest payments. €12 million loan to the Disney Store Netherlands generated €495,000 in interest. The Cayman Islands company returned €837 million dividends to Luxembourg. Disney's tax agreement lays out a series of tax-free contributions from other Luxembourg subsidiaries to the finance company. Disney also set up a U.S. branch of the Luxembourg-based internal lender at Disney's headquarters in Burbank, California. Brooks said the U.S. branch likely pays no tax on its transactions because of a loophole in the U.S. tax code where, at the request of the parent company, the IRS can ignore certain subsidiaries for tax purposes. If so, it is U.S. tax being avoided, as this is ultimately investment from the U.S. being routed through Luxembourg for tax purposes. Altogether, the three Disney companies established by the tax deal crafted by Ernst & Young recorded more than €2.8 billion in profits from 2009 through September 2013, yet they share a grand total of one employee, according to the tax agreement. They are located in a residential building in Luxembourg with two additional Disney subsidiaries. On the group's letterbox, the name of Disney CIS Holdings S.A.L., a firm created in 2011, had been added by a handwritten notation on a piece of masking tape. Our global effective tax rate has averaged 34% for the past 5 years and 35% in the most recent year, said Zania Mucha, Disney spokeswoman in the U.S. We manage our tax affairs responsibly and aim to fully comply with all applicable tax rules. Your assertions are not based on an accurate understanding of our global tax position. Our global effective tax rate has averaged 34% for the past 5 years and 35% in the most recent year, said Zania Mucha, Disney spokeswoman in the U.S. We manage our tax affairs responsibly and aim to fully comply with all applicable tax rules. Your assertions are not based on an accurate understanding of our global tax position. It's unclear if Disney has brought any of its Luxembourg profit back to the U.S., where it would be taxed at the corporate rate of 35%. Disney reported in its 2014 earnings report that it was holding $1.9 billion in foreign earnings overseas and estimated that the U.S. tax liability if it brought that income home would be $377 million. The $377 million, a fraction of Disney's operations worldwide, would still boost its total global tax bill by more than 10%. The company reported in its 2014 financial statement that it paid $3.1 billion in U.S. federal and state income taxes and $600 million in foreign taxes. So there you have it, that's how they do it. What do you think about Luxembourg? What do you think about tax planning? Should the money be paid to the U.S. government and subsidiary countries? Leave your comments below. Cheers, guys. See you in the next episode.